You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to My Comic Life, folks. That's right, My Comic Life, your one-stop podcast for all things geek, nerd, comic, film, TV, video game, pop culture. If you're into that, stop! You have found the podcast for you. I'm your host, Sam, and joining me each week in the My Comic Life studio, folks, he is the unlicensed therapist to the Marvel Universe, helping Eddie Brock and Venom bond more, helping Mark Spector get in touch with his multiple personalities, and helping Dr. Kirk Connors find his inner lizard. Alex, where do you find the time, man? Say hello to the folks there.
Hello, Sam. Yes, this is Dr. Alex. We've been making some great strides with a lot of my patients, but I do deal exclusively with the Marvel Universe, and that seems to be what we'll be doing this week, Sam, as I understand correctly. Is that right?
Yes, this week our show is becoming the marvelous My Comic Life, the marveling My Comic Life, the masterful marveling My Comic Life, if you will. We have a great action-packed, marvelous show for you. Getting things kicked off here, Disney Plus Day reveals the future of small screen entertainment. This week, Disney hosted their first ever Disney Plus Day. On the 2-year anniversary of the streaming service's launch, Disney celebrated by honoring not only its past, but its future as well. Disney released a bevy of new content on their platform, including movies, shows, documentaries, shorts, and behind-the-scenes content. But what got fans really talking this week was a short demonstration titled Marvel Studios 2021 Disney Plus Day Special Feature. The feature took fans through a brief history of Marvel's productions that it played host to over the past year before launching into what it has in store for fans in the future. Subscribers to the service got the first look at some of the biggest productions coming soon to a living room near you. And starting off tonight, we are going to talk about Moon Knight. Moon Knight was one of the first teasers to rise and show its face. Fans were treated to roughly 40 seconds worth of footage from the upcoming show, but it was enough to get the internet buzzing. Starring Oscar Isaac as Mark Spector, Moon Knight is the tale of a former CIA agent whose life is saved by the moon god Khonshu. Alex, first off the bat, I gotta ask you, are you a Moon Knight fan? What's your experience with this character, and what did you think of the trailer?
I'm not a Moon Knight fan per se. I always thought that he looked really cool, but during this time period of my my relationship with comic books, I was really like heavy into Image Comics at this point, and Moon Knight was just kind of, he was almost like a knockoff Batman, and I was just more into like Shadowhawk, if you remember him. He was like the Image version.
Yeah, man, Shadowhawk
So,
was badass.
oh yeah. So I mean, I was all about Image. You know, your Spawns, the Max, all the good stuff from Image. I had actually left like Marvel Comics for a while there,
So
but
Wildcat,
I was a,
Savage Dragon, all that stuff.
I mean, you know, like they were where where the cool kids were. So, um, but that's, I never really had any experience with Moon Knight. I think he's an interesting character from what I've read. Doing the research for the show and everything like that, and it looks like it's going to be a really good movie, or excuse me, a show. But what did I think of the trailer? I thought, it definitely piqued my interest. I was, of course, going to watch this regardless because Oscar Isaac is a complete badass. Ethan Hawke is a complete badass. And so I did like the trailer, and I thought it kind of did enough to pique your curiosity if you were kind of on the fence about it. However, I was hoping, I'm not a Moon Knight fan. I don't know what the comic books are like or anything like that, but I was hoping that this show was going to be a little bit more like a kind of swashbuckling adventure type of show where it's like almost like a national treasure where it's just this, it's more on the adventure side of it. So that's what I was hoping for with this, especially with the setting being in both ancient Egypt and modern Egypt too. What about you though, Sam? I volley this question back to you.
Yes, I'm a Moon Knight fan. No, I did not know a damn thing about Moon Knight until college. When someone gave me Marvel's Seen It, the DVD board game, for a gift, and me and my roommate Phil and my friend Rachel would all toss back beers on a Friday night and play Marvel's Seen It. And a lot of questions involving Moon Knight popped up in that game, and none of us knew who Moon Knight was. It became like a running joke of like when you didn't know the answer, just say Moon Knight, and it's like a 75% chance you were going to get that question right. So based off of that game, yeah, I started reading some Moon Knight comics and definitely became a fan of this character. What did I think of the trailer? I thought the trailer was fun. Just for once, it didn't show enough for me. I'm always on here complaining about how trailers spoil everything, but the 40 seconds wasn't enough. But what I did see, yes, it did look like they're going to delve into his multiple personality disorder really well. In the original comic book, he is a mercenary, and while he's out like doing some hit in Egypt, he nearly loses his life, and somebody places him at the foot of the statue of the moon god Khonshu on a full moon. And yeah, he wakes up and yeah, he's got
So that old tale.
that old tale, sitting around a campfire. Who hasn't heard the tale of the moon god Khonshu? Um, in the comics I read, like sometimes he's like a taxi driver, sometimes he's like a rich billionaire. He's kind of like Bruce Wayne in that regards of like he has money, but sometimes like his personalities will like make him be like a taxi driver, and like stuff like that. But Khonshu was always represented by like this like little Egyptian bird. That only he could see, that would like like balance on his shoulder and like talk to him, like whisper things in his ear. So I'll be interested to see how they're gonna make, like, is Khonshu just gonna be like a voice in his head, or like, is it gonna be some ghostly apparition only he can see? Um, I know his
So
powers.
that's even kind of they alluded to that in the trailer when he talks about the voice in his head, and then I believe it's Ethan Hawke's voice that you hear. Not that that's going to be the voice in his head or anything, but he's just like the voice in your
Yeah,
head.
yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, Isaac's
So
character, the titular vigilante Moon Knight, does suffer, like I said, from a dissociative personality disorder. And Disney's official description of the show reads: the multiple identities who live inside them find themselves thrust into a deadly war of the gods against the backdrop of modern and ancient Egypt. So, yes, it does seem like the show will be tackling some heavy themes when it comes to mental health. Something that has been touched on in the awesome, the amazing, the wonderful, are you hearing this, Alex? The wonderful WandaVision, and recently in the Eternals. Do you like to see these issues brought up in superhero
oh
shows?
man, oh god. Okay. Um, we're just gonna go
Oh,
past it.
I
We're
just,
not gonna we're not gonna
I
stop
thought, I
here.
thought, I thought you were gonna take the bait. I thought I had just triggered you right there.
We're just going past it. We'll address it later on in the show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry. You'll get your don't you'll get your weekly Wanda bash. So, um, I do think that these issues are some of the things that a lot that they do take end up taking over a lot of people's lives. All of us know somebody who's affected by some sort of mental health issue. There are those of us that are suffering from mental health issues. It's not something that should be in the dark. Kind of, it shouldn't be swept under the rug. It should kind of be normalized that mental health is as important, if not more important, than your physical health. I know this isn't that kind of podcast, so I'll kind of just keep it kind of. But yeah, to answer your question, I do think that it's important for issues like this to be brought up because it's kind of that was where Stan the Man. That's how he used comics and stories like this to kind of address these social issues, and I like that Marvel is still continuing to do that and push forward with his legacy. But Sam, I mean, do you like to see these issues brought up in your superhero shows?
Oh, absolutely. As long as they're relevant to the character, then yeah. I mean, like you said, we are not the podcast to be, tackling mental health, but yeah, tons of people struggle with mental health issues, and even our superheroes on the comic book pages have struggled with mental health issues, and so I think if it's relevant to the character, and you can bring the mental health problem, like to the forefront, then by all means do it. I think it's a great thing, and like you said, mental health and talking about our mental health should definitely become more, just everyday common talk. Like, people should feel so comfortable saying, hey, you know what, I'm seeing a therapist, because like I have anxiety, depression, whatever. Like, that should not be a stigma, that is hidden in the dark. No, like, this should be something that is just like everyday talk, like with people, and it should be brought to the forefront and brought to the spotlight. And so I'm glad that we're getting a show like Moon Knight that can, definitely help bring it into the mainstream. I'm totally on board with that. Uh,
That was well said, Sam. I absolutely agree with you.
Thank you, sir. But playing opposite Isaac is Ethan Hawke, who we've talked about, and who, in an interview with Seth Meyers, said he is playing the villain inspired by the cult leader David Koresh, who led the Branch Davidians in the infamous Waco siege. Uh, do you think they could have picked a better villain for this series, Alex?
Um, Probably Oded Fur. No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Man, we want
I
we want
would
Oded
say
Fur to play everything in this show.
I would say if we're talking about like, because I know Ethan Hawke's that's a solid pick. Home run knockout. Dude is an amazing actor. Now, if you're talking about like as in the comic book character that he is portraying, I don't know who it is. I looked at kind of the cast notes and everything. Nobody has there's no description yet as to who he is playing. But I think that somebody like Moon Knight, I would have liked to have seen like Taskmaster come back. That would have been really cool to see that villain in the crossover into this show, or even like Werewolf by Night, one of those old school kind of Moon Knight, uh, I guess adversaries, and it also stays with the Moon theme, and also probably with the mental health theme of a dissociative personality disorder. So to see two people suffering from that disorder kind of in different ways come to uh, in odds with each other would have been kind of cool. But there's that's neither here nor there. And hopefully this gets a season 2 and we get to see something like that. But I'm really interested to see because it does play into that mental health thing, because these cults and stuff like this and cult leaders and everything, this is all it basically, like, the whole show is kind of going to be addressing the different kind of illnesses that somebody can have mentally. So I do like that part of it. And I don't really have much else to say about it. Sam, I mean, do you have anybody that you think would have been better for the villain?
Nobody coming to mind right off the bat, and I would have thought Ethan Hawke was too much of a nice guy to play the villain until I saw the trailer for The Black Phone, in which he plays a serial killer who snatches little kids off the street, pretending to be a bumbling magician, and throws them in the back of their van, and then locks them in a cell and slowly, what looks like, tortures them and kills them in this creepy looking mask. And like, once I saw that, I was like, well, fuck me running, Wow.
Oh,
Ethan Hawke,
yeah, it
you
was.
really portray a scary man, like a really, really scary man. So, I mean, no, kudos to Ethan Hawke. You sold me when I saw the trailer for The Black Phone. If you haven't seen that trailer yet, it's not quite in my comic life's realm, but if you like a good, Silence of the Lambs, serial killer horror style movie trailer, look up the trailer for The Black Phone and watch it. Like I said, totally convinced me that Ethan Hawke could play a cult leader villain. Yeah, like I said, freaked me the fuck out, man. Uh, Moon Knight is currently set to release 6 episodes and is slated for a 2022 release. But as always, stay
So,
tuned.
so do you think? So do you think that? I'm sorry. Do
No,
you
no,
think
go
that?
ahead.
So do you think it's going to get the Winter Soldier treatment, where each episode is almost 40 to 50 minutes long?
I hope it is. For such a limited run, I mean, I sort of get what Disney's doing here. Like they're hedging their bets, kind of like they've done with all these shows. Like they're dipping their pinky toe in like that freezing cold morning lake water. And it's just like, okay, we're gonna give you 6 episodes, and if this works, then like we'll give you like a 12 episode season two. But if it doesn't work, here's 6 episodes, and we're not out much money on our end with 6 episodes. But yeah, I'm hoping they better be 6 45 to 55 minute episodes, an hour long, if you're going to give me this short of a first season. Come on,
See,
Disney.
that's what I thought too, but then when you look at the doing the research for the show, um, I think it's already been like basically greenlit for a season two, which I don't blame them. You get Oscar Isaac, you want to kind of lock him
Oh
down,
yeah, yeah,
so
you do. Well then maybe
so
maybe with just like so many shows being stacked here, that's why we're only getting like 6 episodes, because I think a lot of these Marvel shows are coming out in 2022. They may space them out, more in like their second seasons, but with like stuff like Moon Knight and the other ones we're about to talk about coming out here, they may have just whetted our appetites here with a brief 6 episode season one that will probably end on a cliffhanger, you know. But like I said,
100%, man. So
yeah,
what are those? So you mentioned other shows that they mentioned.
yes. Next up on our slate of Marvel shows coming to Disney Plus or Hulu, could be either or, is She-Hulk. She-Hulk was also treated. I mean, She-Hulk also treated spectators to a first look. Um, Tatiana Maslany stars as a lawyer turned green superhero Jennifer Walters, who inherits the Hulk's power after a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce Banner. Uh, are you a fan of She-Hulk, Alex?
I think more so than Moon Knight, but not very much more than that. I do. I always thought that she was a really cool character. It was a really nice. It's a really good concept, basically, and she has an origin story, and she's in the comics. I believe she's really funny, and she even has that kind of Deadpool self awareness. She was like one of the first, if not the first, comic book character to kind of break that fourth wall, I believe. And so I hope that she does stuff like that in the show. I feel like that would be really really cool. But other than that, I wasn't really a She-Hulk reader. What about you, Sam?
Yeah, I can't say like I know a ton about She-Hulk. I really couldn't find a ton of like I know there are She-Hulk comics out there, but like as a kid, they weren't always on the shelf in my local comic book stores. I really didn't run into She-Hulk until the Incredible Hulk cartoon was airing on UPN in the '90s, and She-Hulk would appear there, fully in control of her mind and her body and her Hulk powers, and she would sometimes aid the Hulk and help point the Hulk in the right raging direction. Tell him who to hit and when to hit and stuff like that. And that was my
Mm,
first honest run-in with the character. While Moon Knight looks like a more serious action adventure production, She-Hulk looks like it will be going for a more lighthearted comedy type of setting. In the comic book, Jennifer Walters maintains her personality and her intelligence when she's transformed into She-Hulk. The teaser footage briefly shows She-Hulk's purple and white outfit along with her green skin. Uh, Alex, do you appreciate the lighthearted take? Does Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black look the part for you?
I think I do appreciate it, kind of a little bit more of a comedic kind of show. I know that they tried to do that with WandaVision. They didn't really succeed, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, I she, and I like I said before, I hope that she does kind of get the ability to break that fourth wall and kind of talk to, if it is like a weird, almost Ally McBeal type of show where she's talking to the viewer as well as playing her part in the story. As far as does she look the part, she looks amazing. I mean, you don't really get to see a whole lot of it, but man, does she look good in that that outfit, and it's looking she looks buff, dude. Definitely looks like she could take me in a fight. So, um, I I hope that what we got is just a small taste of the greatness that we're gonna get from She-Hulk, and I hope that we get more than just this show of She-Hulk. I hope she makes that jump into the actual movies, whether that be in whatever Hulk movie, if they ever do decide to do one,
Oh,
or
they
the
should.
next Avengers or something like that. But what about you, Sam? I mean, do you appreciate the kind of comedic take on this preview, and do you think that she looks great?
I think she looks awesome. Like you said, she looks very strong, very buff. A part of me was kind of hoping, and I know that in all reality, this wasn't going to happen. But I was always a fan of the '70s, Incredible Hulk TV show where you had Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno. So like Bill Bixby was David Banner, and Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk. So I was kind of hoping maybe you'd kind of get like a body double swap out. But I also realize she
Like they
has
get WWE star China or something
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
be the Hulk.
Ronda Rousey, somebody. But I also realize though, with with this Hulk being fully in control of her powers, it's probably better just to get the title actor just really buffed up, or just a little
Mm.
digital enhancing there. Um, because I do remember I've read in the comics and I've seen in like cartoons like she will practice law as the Incredible Hulk, and like if she gets mad at like a judge's call, like she will smash, like the table in the courtroom and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
Um,
funny.
of course, yes, I'm excited for this show. I like the lighthearted approach, even if it took an Ally McBeal approach. I still think that could work for a She-Hulk show. Any show in the Marvel universe involving lawyers gets me excited because there's always a chance. You know what I'm going to say here, folks? That Charlie Cox's
Oh,
Daredevil will show up, and any chance to see that man play Daredevil again, I will take. I fucking love his performance. I go back and watch the Netflix show regularly. I'm hoping there's a way that he comes back to the Marvel universe. But speaking of coming back to the Marvel universe, co-starring in this production, a couple of big reprisals. As we saw in the trailer, Mark Ruffalo returns as Dr. Bruce Banner, the Hulk, and Tim Roth is also coming back as Emil Blonsky slash Abomination. And also contributing is Jamila Jamil, who will be portraying the role of Titania, the comic book rival of She-Hulk. Now, Ruffalo will appear as his less destructive Hulk persona he adopted in Avengers Endgame, guiding Walters through adapting her new powers. All right, Alex, tinfoil hat time, man. Put them on here. uh, any predictions you want to throw out there about this show?
okay. I have two, and the first one is the. I think that Jennifer Walters is going to have to go through some kind of breakthrough, the same way that Bruce Banner did in the Avengers Endgame. How he was able to kind of merge the two personalities in order to create that Professor Hulk type. I think that in the beginning, Jennifer Walters is just going to be like this savage monster, but pretty quickly, I think she's gonna have to get control over that beast, and then be able to merge the two by the end of the show. Probably that's my first prediction. My second one is, yeah, I'm piggybacking off of you. I think Charlie Cox definitely makes a an appearance in this as Matt Murdock. What about you, Sam? You got any? I'm throwing the tinfoil hat over to you, brother.
Nothing too crazy. She might defend, some offbeat Marvel superhero in court, somebody who may be having like their own TV show coming up. Like maybe she defends Moon Knight at some point in court, and gets him off on like a insanity plea, something like that. Like a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the fans there. Also, kind of agree with you that like since yes, like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk will be the one who's like in charge and in control of his powers. He could definitely be like a Obi-Wan, Mr. Miyagi mentor to her, showing her like yes, you can be the Hulk, but yes, you can still totally be in charge of your powers, and this is how that happens. Um, Beyond that, don't see anything else too crazy happening. Like I definitely see some courtroom drama. Another thing I would love to see, yeah, man, tinfoil hat prediction here. She ends up defending Jessica Jones in court for something that her private eye agency ran into, and this is how we're going to get Charlie Cox and Jessica Jones back into the Marvel universe. And I will be one fucking happy fanboy if that ever happens, man. All right, Alex. Any final predictions before I keep moving us on down this marvelous road here?
Oh no, man! I say we just kick it into high gear and push through this last one.
All right. She-Hulk is currently in post-production and is listed at 10 episodes with a 2022 release date. But of course, stay right here. Stay tuned to My Comic Life. Keep checking in on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel for all updates on Moon Knight and She-Hulk. And our third and final show we got to look at, Ms. Marvel. Yes, folks, last on the first looks is Ms. Marvel, starring newcomer Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, the Muslim Pakistani American hero with polymorpheus powers. Alex, what the hell does polymorpheus mean?
Okay, I think so. I looked it up, and it's her ability to change her shape, and she's kind of like Mr. Fantastic, I guess I could say, but just with
Yes.
a little bit more imagination, I believe, based on. But you're the guy. You would in the when we were talking before the show, you were talking about how you are going through 2020's Marvel Avengers video game. I believe you said on Xbox
Yep.
or on PC, but you know a little bit more about her powers than I do.
Yeah, no, her polymorpheus powers, I mean, like, so, yeah, imagine a lot of Mr. Fantastic's powers. Like, like, she can make, like, her, like, legs stretch, so, like, she could grow to, like, 24 feet and, like, step over a building. She could also, like, use her legs to, like, literally leap a building in a single bound. Like, she can, like, inflate her fist, like, an obnoxiously comic size and, like, punch you with it, so it would feel like, you were getting hit by a wrecking ball. Um, like I said, picture Mr. Fantastic and Plastic Man's powers, combined, and you're gonna get what a polymorpheus power is. Um, I think her powers can look good on screen, thanks to the video games we have in the previous Fantastic Four movies. Even though those weren't always the best movies, they made a lot of the powers look good. So I definitely think this will translate well to screen. In the teaser, Kamala says, it's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who saved the world, suggesting the show will grapple with the importance of representation of non traditional superhero identities. Now, the Miss Marvel moniker has been around for decades, but this particular iteration has only been around since 2013, making her a fairly new superhero. Do you like that representation, and is inclusivity uh, do you like that representation? And inclusivity will apparently play a big role in her story. Do you like all those aspects there, Alex?
I think that it is kind of important for someone to be able to connect on um, multiple levels with a superhero because it kind of gives you a little bit more of a you're more invested into the show now. I do poke a lot of fun at WandaVision, but I do realize that there's a lot of people out there who do connect with that show. Um, so it is kind of like they all play their roles. I'll watch and support them all. Um, but this one in particular, I think, is very, very important, especially with in light of the kind of environment that a lot of Muslim Americans have to grow up in, and it's important for them to have somebody that they can look to and be like, that and see themselves in. So I do appreciate that, and plus she's a pretty bitchin' superhero, man. She does a lot of really cool stuff, and it's kind of nice to see this. Whether you be Muslim and identify with her religion, or you are a young girl, a young brown girl, and you identify with that identity, or you're just trying. It's one of those coming of age stories, and you identify with that. So she kind of checks a lot of boxes, and so I'm definitely gonna be digging in and watching this one, and I'm probably gonna get one or both of my daughters to sit there and watch it with me. But what about you, Sam? Do you like representation in
Oh,
your comic books, or is it like hashtag not my comics?
I will never say hashtag not my comics. I love representation. I love inclusivity. That's what comics was all about, you know? I mean, look at the X-Men in like the 60s and 70s, outcast because of their powers, almost mirroring the struggle for gay, lesbian, and transgender rights during that time. No, one of the things that really made me smile and really got me excited during this trailer was there is a clip of seeing and you see Muslims worshiping in a mosque, and it's all in a positive light, and they're not coming off as terrorists or villains or like the bad guy of the week, and our hero here is a Muslim. I love that. I fracking love that about this show. Yes, yes, yes. Please, more inclusivity. Bring everybody in, man. This is one world here, man. One world, one people. I'm all about the inclusivity, and I'm so happy that Disney is putting it out there in the mainstream. I'm totally on board for that. This is a great thing.
Well, I have a kind of an offshoot question for you,
Yeah,
Sam.
man, go for it.
Um, so we've covered three of the main things that were shown, in the feature, but there was a lot more than that. And you guys listening should definitely check it out if you have Disney Plus. Definitely give it a look, or just look it up somewhere else and give it a shot. It's only about, I think, like 7 or 8 minutes that are after the recap, but of everything else that Marvel showed us, what got your attention the most?
Oh man, that would be they're bringing back the X-Men 97 cartoon, and I believe they said they're going to do, I could be wrong. Don't beat me up in the comments here, but they're doing 23 episodes of this so far.
Damn.
I am so thrilled. The X-Men 90s cartoon was like one of my earliest like memories of like delving into the Marvel universe. I mean, like I watched it whenever I could. I bought the figures. I started reading X-Men comics. I mean, like this really helped. Like like I was aware of Marvel superheroes, but this really blew the doors down for me. And really like pulled me into the Marvel universe. So like I said, just so thrilled to see X-Men 97 coming back. I hope that they keep like the same previously on X-Men voice, and I hope they
Gene.
yeah, June. I hope they keep the same voice actors and like the same animation
So
style.
you like the Canadian Cyclops? Okay.
I,
Okay.
oh my gosh, yeah, I liked that show a lot, and I will definitely. I'm gonna recapture my childhood a little bit, because when that show comes out, I will be sitting in front of my TV at 10:30 in the morning, the original time that or Saturday morning, the original time it aired on Fox, with like a big bowl of cereal or some donuts, and I'm just gonna sit there with like a big shit-eating grin on my face and watch it and just love it, man. But I tossed that question back to you. Was there anything else Marvel showed us that got your attention?
Oh man. Yeah. Obviously, the X-Men '97 is a biggie, uh, because that's, like you said, a huge part of my childhood was spent kind of sitting in front of the TV watching that. I even remember we had gotten the VHS tapes that they gave you when you ordered a specific kind of order at Pizza Hut or
Oh
whatever. We
yeah,
got Night of the Sentinels on VHS. Definitely showing my age here, but uh, I think other than that, the Hawkeye kind of preview was really good. Again, I suggest you guys definitely check that out because it was awesome. They kind of actually give you like a little 5 minute scene that they hadn't previously before. But other than that, I think the one that I love, and we, if you'd been listening to the show, then you'd have already known that this was coming. But when they kind of confirmed Loki season 2, I kind of was like definitely like, all right, I'm gonna be there to watch that day one. Like the minute that clock hits 2 a.m. and they release it, and on my local time, I'm definitely gonna be catching that first episode of Loki season 2 because that one was left on a massive cliffhanger, and I need to see where that goes.
definitely agree with you. Yeah, Loki, big one there. Left, yeah, gotta love a good cliffhanger though. That means the show did its job. It pulled you in and it made you want more. So yeah, Loki for you, X-Men '97 for me. We will keep you updated, of course, right here on My Comic Life on all things Disney Plus and Marvel related. All right, folks, moving on to our third and final segment here of the marvelous, marveling My Comic Life. Well, try saying that 5 times fast. Yes, this marvelous My Comic Life episode, we are up to Marvel's What If. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Folks, if you haven't watched the ninth and final episode of Marvel's What If, pause the podcast here. Use your logon. Don't don't take my advice of stealing logons like I used to say in earlier episodes. Use your own logon. Sign up for Disney Plus. Spend your hard-earned dollars.
Come
Or
on, man! I think it's $1.99 for the first month, man. Come
yeah,
on.
or borrow a friend's or family member's password. But anyway, watch the episode, then come back and listen to the podcast here. I'm going to give you that oh so famous, oh so fabulous My Comic Life 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert, engaged. The ninth and final episode of Marvel's What If originally premiered on October 6th and is titled What If the Watcher Broke His Oath? The Watcher recruits Strange Supreme, Captain Carter, Star-Lord T'Challa, Party Thor, Black Panther, Killmonger, and a Gamora variant who killed Thanos from their respective universes to battle Ultron. They confront Ultron in a lifeless universe where Strange summons a horde of zombies which Ultron overpowers. In Ultron's home universe, the team finds Natasha Romanoff. With Carter's help, Romanoff shoots Ultron with an arrow containing Armin Zola's mind. As Zola takes control of Ultron's body and fights Killmonger over the Infinity Stone, Strange and the Watcher seal them in a pocket dimension which Strange agrees to watch over. The Watcher returns Strange, Carter, T'Challa, and Gamora and Thor to their respective universes. Romanoff, however, refuses to return to hers, so the Watcher brings her to one in which the Avengers candidates were assassinated. See our previous episode of What If the World Lost Its Mightiest Superheroes. In this universe, she helps the new Avengers defeat Loki. In a mid-credit scene, Carter and her universe's Romanoff discovered the Hydra Stomper armor with someone inside. Who could it be? Uh, Alex, what did you think of Guardians of the Multiverse?
I thought it was a really cool concept, and a nice way to kind of wrap up the entire season of the show. It'd be kind of a neat way for them to end each season of What If. Going back to what we just talked about, I think What If season 2 was also confirmed in that feature. But I think the only one that kind of stuck out like a sore thumb to me was definitely Killmonger. Not only because like he's I guess the history that we have with him, and we know kind of his ulterior motives and that he was a bad guy and stuff. But also because he's not really on the same level, kind of strength wise, fighting wise, or anything as any of the other people that he brought in. So that's I think he's kind of the only kind of Achilles heel of the Guardians of the Multiverse. But what about you, Sam? Did you like it? Did you like the whole concept?
I did. I was surprised at the team he chose, but then again, like less surprised too because each episode had focused on them. But yeah, getting somebody like Killmonger to like come on board and fight for this cause surprised me. But then it paid off with the stereotypical bad guy, bad guy being good guy going bad at the end again, like when he tried to recapture all the Infinity Stones and use them for his own personal gain. Um, yeah, like I said, but yeah, no, I liked the team. I liked seeing them hang out at the makeshift interdimensional pub is is what I'll say, and like
Oh
like
yeah,
share
yeah.
a drink and yeah, just seeing them hang out and like they did a great job of building team camaraderie real quick in this episode, which can sometimes be a hard thing to do. So I really like that. Uh, who wins in a fight though? The Guardians of the Multiverse or the OG Avengers?
Oh, that's a tough one because you do have the OG Avengers. You got Tony, and like it or like him or not, man, he does kind of he that's a very big weapon to have. So but on the other side, you have the Guardians do have their own Doctor Strange and a Thor of their own. So I will say, who wins in a fight? I'm gonna take the OG Avengers. I just think that they have a Hulk, as Loki would have put, and he kind of is enough to kind of pound away at whoever. I say Captain America takes on Killmonger. Um, Thor takes on Thor. Tony can kill the rest of them. So that's it. That's where I'm at. What about you, Sam? Who do you got in that fight?
I want to say the OG Avengers win for sure, and I do think that they, yes, will come out on top. The only like ace up the sleeve that the Guardians of the Multiverse have is the Strange Supreme, who absorbed so much power and energy from those other interdimensional or multiversal beings. I think that makes him a hair more powerful than like the Avengers Doctor Strange. So that might be the only one that I think would really give them trouble. But like you said, yeah, Thor versus Thor, Tony versus T'Challa. Yeah, no, the OG Avengers would definitely come out on top. Like I said, just that Doctor Strange makes me a little nervous. And I honestly don't think Steve is going to fight Peggy or vice versa,
Right.
those two would run toward each other, drop their shields, hug, and start making out. So
Oh,
don't
that's a
know.
lot of muscle.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how this fight would go down. Um, what did you think of the episode, and what did you think of this show as a whole?
I thought this was one of their better episodes. It did, like I said, it wrapped up everything nicely. You weren't left with a whole too many questions, and I was pretty satisfied with the ending that they came up with. So I would give this one, I think, probably a solid uh, 8.5. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it. Go ahead and tip the scale and put another half on there. And as the show as a whole was pretty fantastic. Not a really. No, I think there was just only like one or maybe two episodes that kind of dragged, but for the most part, each story was interesting, and it was nice and short and sweet. All of them were like around like 30 to 35 minutes long, so you kind of enough to tell the story, but not enough to bore you. So I would give the series as a whole. I'm gonna also go. I'm probably gonna go a little lower. I'll give it about an 8, I guess I'd say, because it did only have kind of those two really superb episodes with the Strange, Doctor Strange, and then the one that we covered, last week. with the What If Ultron won. Those were kind of the two bangers for me, and those, and kind of very honorable mentioning was the Star Lord T'Challa
Oh,
episode. So
yeah.
to me, it's about an 8 as a whole, and this episode was an 8.5. But pass that one on to you, Sam. Good luck, man. Good
Oh
luck.
man, we are totally Professor X Magneto mind vibing here, man. We're on the exact same wavelength. Yeah. I give this final episode like 8.8, 8.9. Really solid, strong B plus of an episode. A lot of fun. Some great action. I didn't quite know how they were going to wrap everything up, but they did wrap it up nicely and neatly, and I liked how this show ended. Show as a whole gets an 8.5 to like an 8, so solid, just B to like B plus show. Just very, very fun, very, very good show to watch. A few weak episodes here and there, but not a ton, not at all. Really, really enjoyed the show. But let me ask you this. We have WandaVision, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, and What If. Alex, rank the four productions of Marvel Studios' first foray into the streaming service entertainment, with like one being the best and four being, not the worst, but just like last place.
Okay. Um, so I would go one for me is personally, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is number one for me. That show was just right up my alley. I loved every episode that they had. The camaraderie between Bucky and Sam was top notch. They did a good job of translating that from the movies onto the small screen, and I look forward to every single episode every week. Then there is right there with it is Loki, because Loki is just that show is just straight up fantastic. It was good from A to B, or from A to Z, excuse me. I think that was, if you go back and you listen to our show, that was probably the highest rated show, episode to episode that we did have. Uh, and it was the repercussions of that show are kind of really set the tone for this phase 4 of the MCU. And then there is a small drop off, and we have What If, because it was something fresh and something new, and it's animated. They were able to do a lot more with the action than they would have with the regular, kind of puppets and computer graphics and stuff like that. They were able to kind of do a lot more and make it look at least a little more believable. And then there is a very long drop off. And then we have WandaVision, which to me was just like, I'll put that on before I go to sleep, because it's a good way for me to relax and just close my eyes and just nod off, because that show was just lame. And yeah, there you have it. Those are my ranks. Sam, I'm sure you're gonna have some smart ass to say. Let's just go
Oh
ahead and get
boy.
it over with.
All right. Coming in first place for me out of all the Marvel Disney Plus productions is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Uh, they built upon the chemistry very well that they had built up in the movies between Bucky and Sam. That was just a fun show. I really hated. Well, my hat's off to Kurt Russell's son, because I really hated his portrayal of Captain America, and I mean that, and like, you portrayed him so well as like this smarmy asshole that like I hated seeing your character on screen. I mean that in like the highest compliment possible. But I loved seeing Sam and Bucky become closer. I loved seeing Sam call out to his community to help like rebuild his parents' boat and everything. Loved all that. Loved all the background building we got in this season on those characters. So definitely, uh, yeah, Captain America, or Falcon and Winter Soldier, but he is Captain America. Captain America and the Winter Soldier first. Second place is Loki for me. Really, really just love the show. Love seeing all the Loki variants. Love seeing. I'm gonna get him mixed up. Luke Wilson with Loki.
Mobius.
Mobius, yes. I still want to see Mobius get his jet ski. Just seeing Luke Wilson and Tom Hiddleston play off each other was fantastic. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Third place comes the ever amazing, the ever lovely, the oh so awesome WandaVision. So many
God.
great, heartfelt, touching episodes. The show made me laugh. The show made me cry. My heart broke for Wanda when she had to like say goodbye in the final episode, and yet there was hope resurrected in the new Vision, which I'm hoping we will get to see more of. If it wasn't for this show, we wouldn't have an Agatha Harkness spinoff. We wouldn't have gotten to fully see what happened to Monica Rambeau's daughter, and we wouldn't have gotten the amazing pairing of Kat Dennings and Randall Park. I'm still hoping we get a Darcy and Randall Park spin-off show at some point. This show was the right show to launch Disney Plus, Marvel series on. It is amazing, and it should not be missed. Coming in fourth place for me is What If. Nothing wrong with this show. But if WandaVision is a B plus, almost an A minus show for me, then What If is just a solid B show for me. Still fun, still enjoyed all the episodes, just didn't quite hit, except for that Star-Lord T'Challa episode, just didn't quite hit as strongly as these other shows did. But still, definitely check out Marvel's What If. Alex, you have any closing thoughts here before we wrap up tonight?
None so far. If you guys listening have any idea, we do have a little bit of a break period before. I believe we're gonna pick this back up with Hawkeye when it releases Thanksgiving week. So if you guys have any ideas on what you would like for us to cover in the meantime, next, you guys want to throw your ideas out there for our third segment, just go ahead and let us know down in the comments below.
All right, folks. Well, that wraps up another great episode of My Comic Life. As always, yes, please continue to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can email us your show ideas at realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Again, that email is realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Drop us a line there, and we will definitely try to get back to you as quickly as possible. Speaking of our fans, it's time for our weekly shout out to our My Comic Life Fan of the Week. Our My Comic Life Fan of the Week this week is Amber Rose Bettis from Rogers, Arkansas. Amber, thank you for liking, subscribing, and commenting on our shows. It really means a lot to us. Amber, you're our My Comic Life Fan of the Week. Salute to you.
Salute to you, Amber. Thank you for checking us out.
All right, folks, this wraps up another great episode of My Comic Life. So as always, ditch the herd, be a nerd, stay strong out there, my friends.